Yo Simchenyo, and po Gabriel Ayala there, and po in Pasco Yaqui Pueblo po in Tucson, Arizona po in Yo Simchoco Tesha. My name is Gabriel Ayala. I am a multi-dimensional artist, kind of the way I like to describe myself. I am a classically trained musician, professional musician, artist, visual artist, wearable art, and also do photography. And I'm from the Pasco-Yaqui tribe in beautiful Tucson, Arizona.
So multi-dimensional. Which dimension are we going to start in, Gabriel?
I guess the one that's the most prominent. People mostly know me as a musician, and but there's a lot more to me again, which I spoke about the other disciplines in which I love to be creatively engaged in. So really, wherever you want to start, I'll follow your lead.
Well, have you always been artistic and musical and that creative brain?
I think so. Even from a young age, I was raised by my grandmother, and it was my grandmother who kind of didn't push me in any specific direction, but just gave me opportunities to see where I might be able to excel in life, and also just what kept me excited and passionate about doing things. The first thing I remember doing when I was young is actually sewing. My grandmother taught me to sew, and she used to have one of them old Singer machines where you'd have to move the pedals as the way the actual needle went up and down. And it was kind of crazy, but that's where I really started, in starting with sewing and just spending time with her. And from there, it started to develop from me just drawing on sketch pads. I used to draw the cartoons from the newspaper as I would watch them, just trying to do that, and then got into music.
What was your first instrument?
My first instrument was the saxophone. Uh, it was just something that I jumped into when I was in junior high. I had dabbled in other instruments, but the first one that I really became knowledgeable of music notation and whatnot was the alto sax, and I loved the sound of it. Mainly because of the breathiness of it. It just sounded like a voice when it was played, and I've always been a traditional singer since I was young.
Well, I thought you were just going to say flute.
Yeah, right. So I know just the
But he
stereotype,
said
right?
saxophone, and that's fine. I'll
I
take
said
it.
sax, but I do play flute, and I play around 11 instruments total, from guitar, sax, drums, percussion, bass, cello, violin. I did mention flute already, and a bunch of other stuff in between.
So are you one of those jerks that can pick up anything and just play it well?
Well, I wouldn't like if somebody called me a jerk, but I'm one of those guys that when I see a challenge in front of me, I have to overcome it.
So it's personal. That instrument is personal.
It is. It is. It's me trying to better myself. You know.
That's awesome. So
Yes, ma'am.
is there anything new that you're tempted to pick up or you want to learn?
As far as instrumentation, I'd like to maybe deal with like Middle Eastern style
Ooh.
string instruments. I think they lend itself really cool. They're just an amazing sound. I'm in love with sound, period. When people ask me, what style of music do you listen to? I say anything with sound. If you looked at my phone, my playlist is everything from rap, rock, reggae to thrash metal to classical, jazz, and even old country music, So I just love sound. For me, it's all about the story. And if the sound creates a great story, then I'm into it.
Yeah, let's go into that a little bit. What do you mean sound and story? Isn't it just a hodgepodge of notes?
No, and that's the thing. There's a musical conversation for me that occurs within a composition, and it's the story that if there's multiple instruments that are the solo instrument, it's a conversation coming back and forth. But even in a solo composition, as my own, I call my music soundtracks to moments in my life.
I love it.
And each of those are created because or inspired through a certain thing. And so it's inevitable that there's going to be a story. And the way I compose the majority of my music is I will just sing the melody. And when that melody seems to kind of fit, then I teach it to myself on the guitar. So not the other way around. So again, as a traditional singer, I love to sing. I'll be driving down the road and have a melody come in my mind that I grab my phone, sing the melody, and then again teach it to myself later on the guitar and think, wow, that's a great story. What is it portraying? What am I going to try to portray here? And then that's where the composition begins.
So it's like your albums are a diary, kind of.
That's a great way to put it. I've never seen it that way, but maybe a journal instead of a diary.
Okay,
Can we go
sorry, because
journal?
that's yes, it's a little 12-year-old when I say diary, but it's a
and,
journal.
yeah, and it's not that it's feminine either, but I like the sound of a journal, a musical journal. That's actually a great title for an album.
It's all right. You can just cut me in at 2%.
Okay, just two? Okay, fabulous.
I'm easy. That's incredible. So you're not so much of who you are as an individual and as an indigenous individual goes into this. So no matter what you do, there's a cultural reflection.
Always. In
No matter
everything I
what.
do, everything I do in life, I think it's inevitable that a piece of us always goes into that. Even when I'm creating what I call wearable art, or when I'm creating art or doing photography, of course, it's going to be inspired, or the deep roots of it are through our cultural teachings and whatnot. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I'm snooping your Facebook. When you say wearable art, are you talking about your merch line, or is wearable art different than a t-shirt? You got to explain it to me.
Well, that is wearable art in a sense as well. So we'll start it with the t-shirts. That the actual images that I'm using on my t-shirts are from my artwork. So I'm what's called a ledger artist. And so my ledger art is then used to be the focus on the actual t-shirt. So I just call it wearable art. But I also do a line of, I hate to say jewelry because it sounds so I don't know, impersonal. I just love the word wearable art, that I create things that are what I call contemporary traditional. So like I make masks and earrings, and they're all made out of horsehide.
Wow.
And then I attach older beads from them from like the 1800s, and old thimbles that are 80 years plus old, so that it looks very aged, but it's a contemporary form of art. Like even this necklace that I'm wearing, the viewers may not be able to see it, but it's elk teeth with skunk beads, and at the end of it there's dyed blue horsehair. And so again, it looks contemporary, but it still looks very traditional in style. And for
Yes.
me,
And
that's
we're allowed
wearable.
to evolve.
Yeah, that's wearable art to me.
I love it. So let's expand upon ledger art, because that is
Yes.
something that I'm torn about, because why would you take an antique piece of paper and color on it? So why don't you expand upon
Okay,
the traditional significance of ledger art, because it is incredible.
So 3.5 years ago, I was sitting up late one night, and I looked at my piano that I have in my home. I have an upright piano, and I saw a sheet music of Johann Sebastian Bach, because I'm classically trained guitarist. And I looked at it and I thought, I've always been a fan of ledger art, but what if I did ledger art on classical sheet music? Boom, light bulb, everything, right? So I created a simple piece that night with just a couple of horses running around in a circle, kind of like a Four Directions type deal. And I posted it on Facebook, and instantly somebody said, I love it. How can I buy it? And I said, it's not for sale. It's just something that I was doing. again, the light bulb got brighter, and I said, let me create another one. And another couple hours later, I posted it, and somebody said, is this one now for sale? And I said, no, but I'm going to maybe start thinking about doing more. So as I started as a ledger artist, I was mainly doing it on classical sheet music, from Bach to Beethoven to Wagner, Igor Stravinsky. And I really enjoyed it, and I loved it. And people were excited about the new medium because it was a very rarity to have ledger art on sheet music. And then from then, I thought, I really need to at least do a couple of pieces on really old ledger paper. So I started researching ledger paper online. I was lucky enough to find some from the 1800s. I bought it and started creating pieces on ledger paper as well. And for those were very unique for me because they were telling stories again, and in a contemporary form. So I instantly created natives at a drive-in theater, and they were watching the Lone Ranger and Tonto. They were really watching Tonto, Jay Silverheels. That's who they were really there to watch. But I created a drive-in with old cars and a couple on horseback at the drive-in with the little speakers sitting at the side of the horses, with a concession stand that said fry bread available, stuff like that. And so again, it's storytelling. And then I decided to use it more to be not an activist, but an artivist, by using things to show people and share with them without feeling like you're coming down on them, but you're just sharing things that have happened in the past. So I've created pieces for the MMIW, for Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women, and it's a woman just in just a forest of dead trees with red ribbon hanging around her and a small red dress in a corner, and she's solid red, but she has white eagle plumes in her hair, and it's so haunting for me. And so again, it's educating people of things that have happened to Indigenous people that are still current and not just in the past, but it's a way of showing them and having them ask questions as to, why did you create this? I also have a piece that I created for the Dakota 38, when Lincoln had all of the people hung, and it's hard to look at. Also, I've done one on boarding schools with a nun with giant scissors she's holding somebody's braid in her hand. So things like that is important for me as an Indigenous male to highlight and then share, so that it can hopefully educate people. So I know, shame on me for using a piece of paper that's over 160 years old, but it's very period, and it sticks to exactly the original art form. But now I dwell in both of them, of going back from sheet music and original ledger paper from the 1800s, and now I'm creating one on a buffalo hide.
Well, uncomfortable art. Art
Yes.
is kind of supposed to be, in a way.
Yes.
It's supposed to, if you see everybody just painting an eagle, or you know what I mean? Like, it starts to just homogenize and minimize. So you showcasing these uncomfortable and painful conversations and uncomfortable and painful issues we carry as people, that's a big deal.
I think so as well.
It's a big bleeping deal. Now, it is radio, so I can't just explain play by play, but behind you, is that just like a wall of awards? What am I looking at? Is it like your blue ribbon? What's going on?
It's lanyards, VIP lanyards of my tours throughout the years. And there's a couple of like posters here and there that are very significant to me, of events that I've been a part of, that I framed because it was such a milestone in my career. The one that I have directly above me to my left is a flyer from a festival in Caracas, Venezuela. and there was an international guitar festival there, and they only invited 7 guitarists from the around the world. I was the only one from the United States, and I was the featured artist of the whole festival. So again, a pretty big milestone in my career.
Holy cow. So did you have to stick because this was a world thing? Was it like a classical world thing? Or did you get to go just showcase the hodgepodge of who you are?
At the time, I was still primarily only playing classical. I was just on the verge of trying to recreate this new language of music that I call jazzmenko. I have lots of cool made up little terminologies. I know you're kind of like, man, I need a lexicon just for this interview to describe all your little words here. But I was just on the verge of that, so I was still mainly primarily playing classical compositions or arrangements that I had taken. I had just released an all tango CD, and so I was playing a lot of tango and classical music from the South America, also a lot from Spain, but also some from Italy. So, but again, nonetheless, a Native American classically trained guitarist was a pretty important thing. And again, that's why I say it was a milestone for me to actually be able to be a part of that. So those are all lanyards from across the world that I've gone. Over here, I have one that when I played for Barack Obama at the second inaugural ball.
What?
Yeah. Also some from when I played for the Pope in St. Peter's Square. Yeah, I've done some pretty cool things in my life.
So did you get to meet the Pope or Barack
I
Obama?
I did not. I wasn't famous enough. I was just famous enough or important enough just to perform for them. But the Pope was no less than, oh my God, he wasn't even 50 yards away from me.
Did he do the bless you? Did he bless
I know,
you?
right?
Do you feel
I thought
better?
maybe he was native when he did that, right?
Yes.
But
So
no,
you are well known in this sphere of extremely talented classical guitarists,
okay.
right? Are
I,
you? I mean, it seems like if the Pope and
I,
the President are picking you out,
yeah, I no, I've had an amazing career. That's definitely for sure. I've released 11 albums. I've played at the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. I've been at the Lincoln. I mean, you name it, I've done it, and I just still stay humble and to who I am, and just continue to keep performing.
feel like you're almost too famous to be on community radio. So,
No, cut it
oops,
out. No
oops.
way.
I
No
love
way.
it. I absolutely love it. So, amongst your travels,
Yes, ma'am.
where is your favorite place? Like, where's like concert or not concert? Like, do you have a favorite?
Each place, I mean, I hate to, this is the awful answer. Each place is special to me for a certain reason. Um, for me, it's always about meeting the people where I travel to, and getting to know the community, getting to know their customs, getting to know some of their language, especially amongst traveling in Indian country, getting to know other communities. Like I've been to reserves all over Canada and been to their traditional ceremonies because I've happened to be there playing a concert that the next thing you know, I'm invited into their longhouse. What a blessing. And yet here I am, and I'm hanging out with Mohawks one day, and the next time I'm in the Opasquiac Cree Nation in northern Manitoba, and then going across to Lame Deer, Montana, off to a round dance and singing round dances all night, and the following day giving a concert for their community. Again, just traveling in general has always been amazing, and always and knowing the traditional foods of our indigenous people, but also just other countries. In being in Venezuela or in Puerto Rico and San Juan, like hanging out there and going out. One of the most amazing memories I have is sitting at a beach in Venezuela, and them coming up to us and saying, "What would you like for lunch? What kind of fish would you like?" And I picked whatever I thought looked good, and this young boy went out in a boat and went fishing for us.
That's service.
And later that, like an hour later, he came back in his boat. And sometime after that, they fed us our lunch. And I was like, I think this is the fish that I picked, but we had, fried plantains and stuff like that. And I was like, what an amazing experience. So I've had such an amazing life. I tell people I've lived the life of 1,000 men, and I'm so thankful each and every day.
That's incredible. So, how many albums again?
11 albums.
And where can people absorb, download, purchase?
Sure. I'm all over.
Where can we get all your goods?
Anybody that wants to stalk me can. It's simple. Just go to their Google search and type in the name Gabriel Ayala. Last name is spelled Ayala. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Spotify. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm everywhere. YouTube, over 50 plus videos of me. You'll see videos of me playing concerts with like Tommy Chong and Carlos Santana and whatnot. I've played with, again, I've had an amazing career. It almost seems made up. Like when I look at my phone and look at the people's numbers that I have, I'm like, do I really know this person? And am I just making it up? I mean, I've hung out and performed with the Temptations, the Four Tops, Dr. John, oh my goodness, you name it, Willie Nelson, and yet I still try to remain as humble as possible. I'm not a famous guitarist. I'm just a man who has been very fortunate to share music with the world. But first and foremost, I'm a man of prayer above all of that. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I've never touched drugs my whole life. So again, I try to think of myself as a man of the people first and foremost. So
well,
there it is.
Classical scales, this isn't simple music. So I really don't think you can be completely hammered and pull off a bunch of Bach. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. That is so incredible. And and now in the music realm, dropping some of the names you have, has it been difficult walking a red road, a clean lifestyle amongst some of these industry musicians? Because I figure like Willie Nelson smokes like a baby has a pacifier.
Yeah, I mean him and Tommy Chong. I mean it is their pacifier, and luckily they're very respectful and they understand that that's just not my thing. I tell them openly, look, addiction is my music, or music is my addiction. And I've never partaked, and I didn't think that I needed to. I've seen it destroy so many people's lives in my lifetime that it scared me to ever want to even think about trying it. Again, the same with alcohol abuse. I've seen it take too many members of my family that I pretty much hate it because of what it's done. So again, I've been around them, and I don't tell people how to live their life. I just tell them how I'm going to live mine.
And that's for the benefit. But I know that a lot of times people associate marijuana with indigenous culture. Like we're open-minded. So and that's across Indian country, that's not a thing. The elders don't have So it's kind of getting weird and mixed right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I hear people saying, "Oh, it's from the earth, so it's okay. The Creator gave it to us," and I'm like, I don't think the Creator would give us something to pollute our mind and change that state of mind that's going to keep us from being focused. So when it becomes a drug instead of a medicine, it's where I draw the line. I understand that now they're saying it is helpful for people with different ailments and whatnot. I still have mixed feelings of that, honestly. But for myself, I just can't. I just can't come to that of it being recreational. It just can't be for me.
Absolutely respect it and see how your life choices have paid off. So you're like a walking validation of this, of this clean life, though. A
Yeah,
lot of
for
people
sure.
have stories of a drug struggle and then getting sober. So you don't hear a lot of stories about people staying focused for their life. My mom's one of them. My mom's like, I just don't like drugs, and she has no
For sure.
interest, like,
Yes.
so she's a square, and I love her.
Yeah, no, I was very fortunate to be raised by my grandmother. I tell people that, she gave the last years of her life so that I could have the first years of mine. She was my mother and my father, and she was the one that it took a woman to teach me how to be a man. And
Well,
because of that, I'm so thankful. And she instilled these values in me, in these teachings and whatnot. So I feel it would be a disrespect for me to do something awful to myself and pollute my body in that way, because it would go against everything that my grandmother gave to me, and that's not how I choose to live.
that is beautiful. That is
Yeah.
just, I don't know, but again, like I'm saying, the contrast of respecting yourself and respecting what you were given so early on, that you're not bothered sense and peer pressure. Like that's a gift I want to give to more children. You know what I'm saying? That
For sure. No, no, for sure. Because there is peer pressure out there. I mean, it's readily available, and it's so scary, that it is so readily available. But again, for me, I just chose to have music as my addiction. Ceremony is my addiction. If I'm not out playing a concert, I'm usually out at a ceremony praying for people. I mean, this whole pandemic, I've been to countless ceremonies. I've been to countless funerals, to sing for people, to try to give back, to those that are hurting, those that are in mourning.
it's beautiful. Now, speaking of, you said the words concert and prayer. Perfect segue. Thank you, Gabriel.
Yeah,
To
nice.
go into, you are doing, and have you done 50 or so virtual concerts on your
Uh,
Facebook that have been shared around social distance powwow and all that? So what's up with those?
so the actual date is today. Today marks the 1 year anniversary, March 2nd, of when I did my first concert. And I'll tell you what, I was on tour right prior to the pandemic really exploding. I was on tour in Louisiana. I was in New Orleans, or NOLA, however
Yeah,
you want
say
to call it.
no.
And I was out there on tour for a full week just playing concerts. And as I was coming back on the airplane, I noticed people were starting to wear masks. And I was like, what's going on? What is this all about? And then within a couple of weeks, I started receiving emails saying your concerts are being postponed, your concerts are canceled. My full concert tour last year got canceled within about a week. Everything from me playing all over the United States, South America. I was going to be in Australia and New Zealand for a month.
Oh,
Everything canceled. And so that for that the rest of the month of February, I was just kind of sitting around thinking, what's happening? The whole world was turning red, little red dots here and there, scary, scary images to see of the unknowing. And one afternoon, I was sitting at my home and I was reading people's Facebook book post of their fear. And I said, I'm giving a concert tonight. That's it. I'm doing it. I'm going to call it Concert for Healing. And I'm going to get my guitar and I'm going to come on and I'm just going to play for people, anybody that wants to listen. And it was March 2nd, 2020. And at 8 o'clock, I went live and I had hundreds and hundreds of people following me instantly. They were all just watching. People were saying, I'm in tears right now watching you. And I thought, wow, what a beautiful thing that I can do to give back here. And I played for an hour and a half straight.
wow.
And at the end of my concert, I thought, I need to end with a prayer song. So I sang a traditional song, a prayer asking the Creator to help us in what we're going through. And then somebody said, when's your next one? I said, next week, Monday night, 8 p.m. How about that? You guys ready? And so tonight marks the 50th concert that I've given throughout this year. The only time I haven't given concerts is if I was away at ceremony. And for a time this summer, I was away for a couple of weeks, but then there's been a couple of times that I've needed to be at funerals or whatnot. But other than that, I've tried to remain faithful and supportive to the community that I've built. And there was never a dollar amount attached to these concerts. It was never trying to take advantage of somebody's sadness. I told people, look, this is where I'm at. If you want to leave a tip, cool. If you want to buy something for me, awesome. I offer music downloads. Then hit me up. But I never wanted to be like, okay, tonight's concert is $10. Mm-hmm. I saw too many people doing that and taking advantage. And I understand where they were coming from, but for me, it just didn't feel appropriate.
So many parts of our culture is free. Like you talked about knowing to sew. I have trouble selling ribbon wear because I was just raised you make it and give it away, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It is.
So when it comes to your prayer songs, your round dance songs, those cultural type songs, they are shared. They are freely given and exchanged and learned and taught and yada. So it does feel kind of weird. Yeah, so I understand that funky area that you could get in between giving and getting your worth. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, tough. And as an artist, that's the most difficult thing, is because we actually have to put a value on things that we sell. So for me, my whole career, that's always been the hardest thing, is what am I worth? What is my dollar value as a musician, as an artist, as a photographer? It's a really tough thing to do. And a tough life to live. I've always been one who says, what are your thoughts? What do you think it's worth? And then go from there. Doesn't always pay off the right way, but
how do you put a price on somebody that's priceless?
And for wearable art that I think is priceless, or the amount of hours that I put into it. How do you put a dollar amount on there? There isn't. How do I put a dollar amount of the 10,000 plus hours that I've put into the guitar to give you that one perfect concert? Mm-hmm. Because people think, oh, what am I paying you for this hour? Well, unfortunately, you're not. You're really paying me for the thousands of hours that I've put into this, so that when I give you this 1 hour concert, it's all leading up to this. So every concert, I say, has always been leading to try to get to that perfect 100% concert, And so, yeah, what's it worth? So I always say, what's your budget? What can you afford? What do you have within your ability? And I'll tell you what I can work with.
No, and that's great. And again, you have spent your life mastering a craft. And if you undervalue yourself, then it kind of undervalues your music and your efforts. But if you shoot too high, then none of us can afford to hang out with you.
Right? Oh, anybody can hang out with me. I'm an easygoing guy. You got a cup of coffee? Let's sit down and talk.
All right. I got 2 cups of coffee and 2 fat dogs. Come on over.
Love it. I'm in.
Is that its own website? Is all this on one centralized Gabriel website? Where can we start to snoop and engage all of the visuals you have?
So mainly on social media. I'm in the midst of working on a new website that will feature both my artwork, photography, and music, because right now it's just mainly music, but I need to consolidate it all to where it's a lot easier on one main website. But I'm also on all social media platforms, from LinkedIn to Instagram and Facebook. So people can always look me up there. And then on Facebook, I have specific photo folders which are called ledger art and, of course, wearable art and photography. So people can always look through there.
Okay, so albums, there it is. Ledger art, wearable art. And now you're holding something that says big sexy. So I'll just
Oh no, you're
I'll leave
calling me
that one
out now.
alone.
Uh, I'll give
Oh
you the
no, they're all
story.
gonna find it, sir.
I'll give you the story if you want it in a nutshell, real quick.
We have to know now. Come on.
Okay, so I was on tour with the Temptations, and they decided they didn't want to introduce me as Gabriel Ayala anymore. They said, we need to get you a cool stage name. And I said, okay. So the next night we're in Toronto, Ontario, on tour. And they say, on the guitar, not the guitar, but the guitar from Tucson, not Tucson, but from Tucson, Arizona. This is Big Sexy. And I was like, oh my God. And I had tons of buddies in the audience. They instantly started sharing that. And they're like, Otis just called Gabe Big Sexy. And it exploded. It stuck. And I just owned it right away. I said, I will gladly accept that new name.
When somebody as talented as Otis gives you a name, you take that name. That name ends up on your headstone. You are that name. I love it. So Facebook, I did notice, had the most accessible hodgepodge of your art and stuff. So the t-shirt sales, the wearable art, where's that? Do you make those? Do they order them somewhere else? Sock it to me.
No,
Because I saw you had a bunch of styles.
Yeah, they order direct through me. I just usually tell people, look at the folder that says wearable art. And when they find something that they kind of like, they can send it to me. I don't recreate anything, but I will do similarities, but I want everything to be a one-off. And the shirts, I actually just upload every couple of days to where people can go on there and then purchase them directly. And they're limited time only shirts. So the next run of my shirts ends tonight at midnight, and the new shirt designs will start tomorrow.
Now, when does the Big Sexy wearable art line launch?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
And are your sizes available from small to Big Sexy?
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean,
I'm changing the name in my phone from Gabe to Big Sexy.
I would so welcome that. Thank you so much. Now.
I'm waiting for the back tattoo. Like this. We have a little bit of work to do, but we'll get there.
You're going to get a back tattoo of Big Sexy?
You are.
Oh, no, I'm not. But also, FYI, I am actually going into tattooing now.
Shut it.
I know. I'm just never happy with creating things. I have to keep moving. I'm inspired by art. I'm inspired by life. And I had the opportunity to tattoo, and I tried it, just never doing it. And the artist said, that's pretty amazing, man, for your first time. And I said, well, I've been an artist all my life. I actually wanted to be an architect when I was younger as well. So I said, I know what line work is, and I know the importance of a straight line and a curved line is. And they said, it's amazing. And they said, if you ever want to use my tattoo shop, it's yours. So by this summer, I'm going to start tattooing.
I'm ready. I got some room left somewhere, I think. We'll find you a little nook. We'll find you something.
That's awesome. Just give me some real estate, little property there.
Some weird shaped blob left on my body. You can find it. Now, if you can get good at tattooing like wrinkles, hiding aging through tattoos, then you'd be a bazillionaire.
Oh, cut it out.
So the last thing that I want to ask about before I have to let you go back into reality. You got really good stuff. I like your jewelries. I like your sweat dresses. I like your ribbon skirts. You mentioned photography.
Yes.
You're a photographer. So is that what folder is that? Desmos? Is that you?
Yep, that is Desmos Photography.
Okay. And are you available for hire?
Of course.
So if I'm in the area and I got all my ribbon wear on and I want to sit next to a cactus, you're the guy?
I am that guy. Yeah, for sure. And I started photography by chance because I was touring all over the world before this pandemic started, and I was just taking pictures on my iPhone. And I was like, what a shame. Here I am in Rome. I'm at the Colosseum, and I'm holding I mean, even though the cameras now are really great on
Yeah.
smartphones, I thought I should have a nice DSLR camera, a nice lens, and be shooting high quality photos. And so when I came back from one of my tours, I invested in myself. Next thing I know, I went to Standing Rock. I was in Standing Rock for 3 months, and I utilized my I say the little bit of fame that I do have to help our people. So like I got guitars donated so that we could sell to raise money for the camp. I gave a free concert there at the casino. I gave concerts all over to raise money. I sold 10 of my guitars to raise
Dang.
money for Standing Rock and to feed the people. First time I showed up in Standing Rock, I showed up in my truck with it full of clothes, food, produce, and everything. And I slept in my truck and on Facebook Hill. And that's
Yeah.
where I lived. I would, at the end of the night, after, going out to try to shut the pipe down, I would go sweat, go wash myself off right there in the Oahe River, and then go to my truck and pass out on the hill. That's it. That was my life. And so I was doing lots of photography there, and I actually have done a photography exhibit that's been shown across the United States of my time there at Standing Rock.
That's
And
wonderful. Can we see that now? I want to see it at this moment. Is there a book or slideshow? Please.
sure,
I want to reminisce.
you can go to my YouTube channel, and there's a video on there. It's called "Through the Eyes of a People," and it's on my YouTube page, and it has all kinds of stuff there. From the actions that we would face, all of the things that weren't shown are on there, and my music is the actual background to it. Is the soundtrack to it.
I got my press pass.
Yeah, mine is one of those mini lanyards back there that you see.
My concert, the mini Wachoni concert.
You don't remember me there?
I do. When you were saying it, I was like, oh.
I was,
and
I was
and
in
I
a,
think and I
I was
think
in
in
a,
the back green room, that same night, I think I met you there.
wow, that we
In
probably did. I'm
in the
sure we
green
crossed
room
paths.
with Samochi Sampson when he was getting dressed in his regalia.
Exactly.
Savage family was hanging out back there. So I think you just looked way too humble or didn't have a guitar. So I was just like, what's that guy's deal? How famous is that guy?
and,
No,
and
but
and
we were
or you
there.
might have thought, hey, that's Big Sexy.
Hey, that guy's sexy and he's big. I wonder what his name is. No, that's incredible. And a lot of us, everything that we had and are and were went into being there and for those moments and
For
standing with
sure.
that. So I worked Spirit Radio for a month with Govinda. So I
Yes.
was up there mouthing off.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
and trying to bring some decent jams to I tried to camp as close to Facebook Hill so I could stick my arm out and get a bar. So,
No, yeah, I don't. Maybe you don't remember this. That I used to give concerts at the main fire there with. Do you remember Clint Cayo?
yeah.
Yeah, so Clint would have me come up and just do like 2 or 3 songs at any one particular night, and be like, "Hey, man, get over here, get off the drum, and come play a couple of songs instead." And I'd be hanging out with Cedric,
Yeah.
and so everybody else, and JD and everybody. But I was mainly at the drum all night. Again, these names, right? I was up there hanging out with Myron Dewey all the time. Myron would be like, "Let's go, bro," and he would jump in my truck and he'd go, "Get your camera." I'm like, "I'm loaded. Let's go." and we would be chasing helicopters at like 100 miles an hour. And he'd be like, he's like, you're the only guy that has a big lens here in the
Yeah,
camp.
the telephoto.
Yep. And he's like, hurry up, man. We need to get that tail number. And there we go, 100 miles an hour trying to get it. And then to realize they're now chasing us. So we're going back to camp. And but we got the tail numbers. And you'll see in that video that I posted, the actual tail numbers of those helicopters are all in there and stuff.
You remember his giant solar panel?
Oh my God.
I drove that. I delivered
Oh,
that. My community made that, donated it, and I drove it.
oh, that's amazing. So yeah, it's inevitable that we were bound to cross paths then again, I guess.
Yep. And we're going to cross them again once the big tasty wear, the big sexy wear line launches.
Well, I don't know about big tasty wear. That's...
Names mixed up. I'm sorry. I love it. So Facebook seems to be the best catch-all.
It really is.
Where you're at
really
right now.
is.
So spell your name, give the links again.
Sure. My Facebook is at Gabriel Ayala Official. That's GabrielAyalaOffiCial. Sorry, CIAL. So
Okay.
again, Gabriel Ayala Official. They can look me up there and follow me and start seeing my concerts.
And then AyalaGuitars.com, that's more of a music booking.
It is for now.
For now.
And again, hopefully within the next month or so, it'll start having everything from my wearable art to photography to ledger art, etc. It'll all be on one website.
You're way too bleeping cool. I am so amazed. Like, I don't know. You got a super fan here. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I appreciate that. I need those.
No, I'm on a mission to keep promoting and stalking and harassing and weaseling your music in to this station more and more and more. Now,
please do.
Quick question. Since we're on a Tuesday, but this is going to air on Thursday, when is your next concert? When is number 51?
It'll be Monday night.
So is it usually on Monday nights we can look for a post about you?
Yes, Monday, March 8th. It seems like that was the date that just stuck in people's minds. Because like I tried one on Friday, I tried it on Saturday, but it seemed like Monday was just a nice day to start their week off, And so I just decided Monday was the day. It worked for everybody. And again, I've built a community of people that religiously log on. Like they'll write me and they'll be like, it's 8:01. Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm logging in right now. Just give me another 30 seconds, And
That's
it's exciting though, because it's kind of like a sanctuary, an online sanctuary for people to come and they feel okay to express themselves. And I tell you what, there's no more fulfilling thing in my life at the moment than looking on there and somebody saying, my relative passed away, but I listened to your music and made me realize things were going to be okay. I'm like, that's way too much credit that you're giving me.
That's pressure.
But I humbly accept it and say thank you. And again, I'll have times where I'm like, all right, if anybody's been having a hard time this week, post it up. Where are you from? Maybe somebody lives near you and they can reach out to you. And again, so I've built this whole community and people know that I constantly drink tea every Monday night. So they'll post what kind of tea they're having and where they're from and whatnot. So again, even though times are so difficult right now and we're not really in control of our fate, this is a way to take charge of even just that one night, even just that Monday night for an hour and a half. It's just us and we're safe and we're social distancing and we're just living life.
Okay, well, you being as big, sexy, humble as you are, is there a place for people to donate and support you if they feel compelled to give,
For sure. I post my links
Okay.
on my concerts, and I call it a virtual tip jar.
Okay.
For those that want to go in there, there's a Facebook or a PayPal link, there's a Venmo, and a Cash App link there. And I tell people, look, if that's something you want to do, I would definitely welcome it, but know that it's not
A requirement.
yes, a requirement for being here. The only requirement for being there is that you enjoy it. That's it. You know.
And then you also are sustained by the wearable art sales.
I'm trying to. I'm
So do
trying
we
to.
get, do you have physical CDs? Because I love physical CDs. See,
I do have physical
I
CDs.
like to touch things.
Yes, and I think it's so important because of the liner notes. I think the liner notes are so important.
I like to stare at it and the art. And if there's lyrics, you know, I read the lyrics. I miss albums because then you didn't need glasses to
I
read
love albums. Yeah,
and then how much they tried to cram in a cassette tape.
I know. Oh my God,
Unfold.
the very first recording I released was on cassette tape,
Yes.
and I still have one unopened cassette tape.
Do you think like the tape is all crispy and crunchy now?
I have no idea. I don't want to open it. I'm looking at it on my wall. So on my other wall, I have all of my albums framed that I've ever released,
Do
and
you have your
on
pencil
there,
ready to tighten up the cassette tape?
I know the eraser.
Your pinky?
Yep. Or if it got eaten up, you cut it and taped it back together and just made sure to never rewind towards that area.
Oh my goodness. I love it. We've mastered being ghetto. Don't worry about it. We got this.
Now, if we can just go back to 8 tracks, then we're cool. I'm done.
Hey,
I'm in.
that's how I fell in love with Cream, was on an 8-track at my grandma's
Oh
house.
my, oh my God! I'll have to share that story with you about 8 tracks sometime. It's really horrible. It's really just ghetto, but it's a good
Hey,
one.
I wear my ghetto proud. So once again, with your website, spell your name. I'm sad to let you go, but I have to because
No
if not, we're
worries.
just going to end up chit chatting and
Oh, we can do that anytime, even off
turning
the
into a slumber party.
anytime, definitely. So again, my name is Gabriel Ayala, Gabriel. If you just go into Google or Yahoo search, type my name, you'll see everything that comes up with my name, associated with my name, through music, wearable art, photography, everything. So you guys can follow me there.
You look all distinguished on your website.
Yeah,
All
that's me.
stoic.
Yes, very stoic.
I can't. I'm gonna bug you again. I'm gonna beg you to send me your discography so I can get that in rotation. And my brother is actually moving to the area, so maybe I will. I didn't see why I'd visit him, but now I want to, so I can learn all about your weird backstage stories and your eight
For
track
for
sagas.
sure, for sure, I'll take you out to the desert so you can see the beauty out here. It's amazing.
It sure
and
is.
and and you'll have to get tattooed while you're here.
I'm ready. I wake up ready to get tattooed. I do it. Well, I really appreciate your time. Big sexy Gabriel Ayala. I just hate botching last names. Facebook, interwebs, like you said, give it a Google, YouTube. You guys check him out. And again, radio, so you have to describe it more of the worlds. One of the coolest, humblest, just neatest vibe dudes. I love his aura. Should I read his just calm, wonderful, beautiful, creative aura? I feel like I made a friend today, so it's hard to get off the phone.
Definitely. So, well, we can continue to text and pick up this conversation
Okay, good.
anytime. And to everybody out there, I'll just say, I live by this mantra. I say, love your children, honor your elders, and respect your women. And that's the way I truly
And
try to
support your
live.
artists.
Support your artists if you'd like. Again, it's never about me. It's about, everyone else, But thank you so much for your time. Choco Tesia, thank you for allowing me to be here and share even just a little piece of my story with you.